Well, to start with, at the beginning of the movie, we saw a door being opened by a monster who enters in a kid's room trying to scare him. But instead of doing it, the monster was the one who got scared. Then we noticed a strange thing. It wasn't a real kid's room. It was like a stage to simulate it, to simulate the room. And there, the workers of the Monsters Incorporation get trained to learn how to scare the child. Also, the boss explained to the workers that the company was one of the most important of the city and must be the best one. So the monsters or the workers were selected by special skills that they must have, like being big, being ugly. This reason was to generate more and faster energy. But this was not just because. In an advertisement on the TV, which explains that the main reason and importance of the company of Monsters Incorporations was because the city of the monsters need the energy for their houses, buildings, schools, hospitals, like electricity. So the screams of the child were the produce. So then, in another scene, we saw Sullivan and Mike arriving at this company of energy and Monsters Incorporation, where Mike started to talk with the receptionist, and they were kind of flirting, but then apparently we noticed that this receptionist was his girlfriend, so they decide to have a date. Later, having dinner in an special and exclusive Japanese restaurant because it was his girlfriend's birthday, so he decided to invite her.
Our protagonists enter the building where they work, and we get to see the variety of monsters there and how they all seem to admire Sullivan. We are then introduced to the Edmutsubu, Mike's girlfriend, and the plans they have for later. Then, while they are chatting, Randall appears, a character with whom they don't get along and seem to have a long-standing rivalry. We continue with the presentation of characters, and they show us Ross, who seems to manage the paperwork and has problems with Mike and his disorganization. Finally, they give weight to all the characters, and we can see how it works to get energy from screaming children, and the success that Sullivan has in that, having the best record for which he fights with Randall. They also show us some problems they have in the company, such as the fact that the kids don't seem to be scared of anything anymore and they close those doors, something that worries the owner of the company. Here we can see the protocol that handles the company to have a 3312 code that involves having a chill object in their world for which an organization comes to get rid of the sock, destroy it, and decontaminate the monster.
This part of the movie is so relevant to the story because it starts with the president of the company explaining Sully the bad situation that the company is going through, and he said that he will do anything to keep the company safe. After the talk with his boss, work hours are over and he meets his best friend Mike, who has a date with his girlfriend, but Mike remembers that he hasn't completely finished his work, so he asks Sully to finish it. Then Sully goes to do the job that Mike asked for, but when he arrives to the office, he realizes that there is a door, and when he looks out for the owner is the moment where we know Boo, a little girl who is not afraid of monsters. Scared, Sully tries to get rid of the girl, but it becomes a problem, and he runs everyone trying to lose her. but he can't. So he goes to interrupt his best friend date to explain him the situation with Boo in a backpack. While Sully tries to explain the problem to Mike, Boo comes out of her hiding, and all the monsters start to panic. Boo is so kind with the monsters, and she thinks that everyone are playing, but they are so afraid of her. Everything turns in a mess, and when Mike and Sully see the disaster, they start to run with Boo until they reach a safe place where they begin to make measures to avoid physical contact with Boo. While Sully and Mike try to protect themselves, Boo grabs Mike's teddy bear, but Mike takes it away, and in that moment they discover that if they make Boo cry, the electricity starts to fail, and they attract the attention of the police. But also, when she laughs, energy has more power, and the bulb bursts, so they have to find a way to keep Boo quiet.
Boo's on the carpet with lips and crayons. He's drawing calmly while Sullivan throws cereal into her mouth. Sullivan regrets what he did and says that what he did brought the company closer. Mike tells him that he should worry about the girl, that she is dangerous, and that when they fall asleep, they will be easy prey. So Mike wants to make a plan. He's sketching about the plan so bad, and he ends up throwing away his ideas. Sullivan sees Boo and she shows him the drawing she's doing. She draws the two of them and observes that Boo is already sleepy. He takes her another room with the help of the cereal. He told the Boo lies down on some newspaper, but she lies down on her bed. She gets a little annoyed but lets him pass. Sullivan tells her to go to sleep and she points to the closet door and shows him drawing of Randall, which scares her. Sullivan tells her that she doesn't have to be afraid or to worry about and waits until he falls asleep so that he is calm. Boo falls asleep. Sullivan tells Mike that Boo is harmless, but Mike still thinks that she is a danger. Sullivan tells him, you just have to return it and that is it. Mike tells him that is a bad idea. However, they make him accustomed to Boo so her can sneak out and return her. Mike said that this won't work. Sullivan tells him that everything will be fine. But when they enter the company, he finds a lot of security and people looking for the girl. They take Boo to the bathroom so Mike can go get Dad's car and they can return Boo to her house. Boo wants to go to the bathroom and Sullivan accompanies her. They starting playing hide and seek until Mike arrives. Boo she appears somewhat scared since he had seen Randall and entered the bathroom. They hide, then Randall's friends enter the bathroom asking him about the girl. He tells him to shut up since he had heard a noise and start looking for the girl. His friends interrupted him, thanks to the fact that they weren't distracted talking. I don't know they realized that Mike, Sullivan, and Boo were in the bathroom.
Sully and Mike begin trying to act normal in front of their co-workers, while at the same time trying to figure out a way to get back home. Boo! Mike put the wrong door to get right the girl, and they start arguing with Sully about it. At the same time, Randall became suspicious of what happened, and thanks to the newspaper, he found out that Sully and Mike were there when the girl appeared. He calls Mike and threatened to pay him to return the girl as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Sully played with Boo and ended up losing. He looked for her all over the place until he found part of her costumes in the garbage. Following the thread and seeing the garbage was Shredder
cut up and molded into cubes. Sully, believing it was Boo, became sad until he discovered that Boo was only Boo the Monster Nanny. Finally, Mike leads them to the right door, a white door with a pink flowers, the door of Boo, saying that it was all thanks to Randall. Sully, see Boo scared, told Mike that he didn't trust Randall because she only wants a Boo, and that made Mike furious and showed him that there was nothing wrong. He opened the door and and entered to the room, jumping in the bed, and then he was captured by Randall and escaped with them, believing that Mike it was Boo.
In the first photo, Sullivan with Boo decides to go looking for a Randall thanks to Boo the final secret door that leads them to a warehouse. There they meet Randall and Wazowski. They see that Randall wants to get information for Wazowski about the girl is. Sullivan realizes that Wazowski is having a hard time and helps him to escape and get out of there. In the second photo, Sullivan is looking for help and this is to go to Waternoons, the company's owner, tell him what is happening with Boo and Randall. Grew up entering the room. Waternoon was scolding a monster for nothing how to scare children. So he ordered Sullivan to know him how to do it, but he didn't want to. But Waternoon forced him to. What Sullivan forgot was that Boo in the room, and when he demonstrated, Boo say him and got very scared, which caused her to run and take refuge in water. In the tree, Pharaoh Waterloo is surprised to see Boo and Wes Sullivan, and Wazowski told him about what happened with Randall. He makes them think he believes them, but proceeds to send them to other place, through a door, all with Randall's head. In the fourth photo, they arrived at a place called Himalaya, where it was very cool. So Wazowski wanted to leave, but Sullivan was very sad about Boo, and all he wanted to do was to go look for Bo. But Wazowski gets angry because he wants to go home, and that's why they start to agree. But in the end, Sullivan decides to go look for Boo alone.
Sullivan goes down the mountain on a sled and finally collides with a rock that sends him straight into the snow. At which point, he realizes that he has found the town that the abominable snowman mentioned. Sully managed to return to the company through a closed door that was in the village. Sully goes straight to Randall's secret lab and destroys the machine to save Boo. Then he confronts Randall, and at that exact moment, Mike comes back to apologize for leaving Sully and accidentally saves him from Randall. Randall chases them, and Celia manages to stop him while Sully and Mike escapes with the girl to the center where all the doors are. Thanks to the fact that Boo's laughter generates a lot of energy, all the doors of the plant are activated while Randall chases them. Randall manages to catch Boo, but she overcomes her fear and faces him. Sully catches and sends him through a door he later destroyed. Then Randall appears in a trailer where the people there think he is an alligator.
When Sully, Mike, and Boo finally escape from Randall, they decide to go take Boo out of his home. But when they try to lock the Boo's door, the system is activated with the Warner's help with the purpose to capture them. When the door arrives with them hidden, Mike comes out with Boo in caution marks and distract all the members to CDA throwing a sock over one of them. Fastly, he runs to the exit, but then they realize and begin to chase him. Sully looks that everyone is walking away, so that he grabs the boob's door and runs to the other side with her. However, he stumbles with one scream tank, causing Warren to seize Boo and try to capture them. Sullivan runs with all his might until you get to the escape chamber. When finally arrived, he puts the door into the system and activates. Then goes inside and closes it to protect himself. Finally, Sullivan and Boo feel safe, so he put Boo on his bed. Suddenly, Warrenus appeared behind, and he began to say his plan, which consists to steal all the kids from the real world, because the skates were no longer enough to pay the energy from his town and the company. But before Warrenus could catch Boo, the escape chamber was opened with Mike's help. The CDA decided to take Warrenus and put him in jail for giving a boost his power. However, the boss of the CDA talked with Sullivan about saying goodbye to Boo forever because his door will be destroyed for security. Sullivan sat, take Boo, and put she on his bed. He get up, walked to the door, and closed it. Over the years, Sullivan and Mike discovered that the best thing for generating energy are the louder. So the Monster Incorporation thanks, and now your purpose are making happy all the kids around the world. Despite everything, Sullivan was not very happy because he missed Boo so much. But one day, Mike brought Sully into a room with his eyes closing. When opened them, he sees Boo's door. The end of his movie is when Sullivan gets into the Boo's room or he sees she, knowing that he is never separated from her again.